All right, this is it. Final boss. This is the final video of this. This will be part 2 for the other casino boxes. I suggest you watch that one first. And I know that Route doesn't really pay attention to these, even though he should. I would suggest that he routes the casino boxes first, and that way you can just knock those out. But also they're a little easier to learn on, and a lot of the stuff on those will be transposed to this one. That's why I want you to watch that video first. I'm not going to over explain a lot of the box making on this, even though it's just bigger. It's going to be a lot of the same. What I am going to go over is obviously all the power stuff, a lot of here, and how the Mountin mounts here are going to, we're going to have like a bridge that the Mountin's attached to. So that's pretty much all that really needs to be focused on compared, the differences between the two. It's just, you can see where it's essentially a casino box, but just 2 of them. This is going to be a lot similar to an oversized version of the Loma Linda Monument you did. You can kind of recognize the 2x there. So anyway, let's get into it. Let's get into the lay of the land. I'm going to need my trusty page turner here. There we go. So let's load it up. So this one is broken into north and south. Like I said in the other video, the south side is going to be the one that faces the one that we're sort of used to looking at. And that one's going to have the power in it. So I have it all broken down with just the framing here. That's the south side. And then we have the north side framing. 090 parts for the Mountin bridge. We'll go over that. And this is going to be for the power box. This is going to be for the power supply. Look for like these little things here. You got these little squares here. And then this is going to be for the main power in and the switch. All the jiggies, I broke the jiggies up south and north. You don't really need to worry too much. We'll get into it, but we don't have to worry too much. South is the only one that has these 2 weirdos here. Otherwise, everything's the same. And north is all the same, except for those weirdos are not there, but they'll have their own little north version. But otherwise, like for the most part, everything else is all the same. For these big boxes, these jiggies are different than the casino ones, but you'll see that they obviously won't fit. They're a little bit different size and stuff. But again, I encourage Route to just focus on the smaller casino ones first, get all that taken care of, and then there won't be any confusion with jigs and stuff. So anyway, now you have structural jiggies. You know how we do when we do the 2x4 to a 2x2, I give you a super uber place to weld and get really structural. So you're going to have a bunch of these 1/8 inch. That way you can weld eighth to eighth. You'll be good to go. Again, these look very familiar. You'll have the same little, cutout spots, except these are just extendo versions. You have an in and an out, but you'll have these 1/4 inch plate, and these are for the north and the south. And then also we're going to have these little bridges. And then, but it's the same, these are the same plates as the casino. But again, just kind of keep everything separate. And then we're going to have a bridge crossover strengthening thing. So we'll go over that. This is essentially like a modified Mjolnir. So you'll see what's up with that. And you'll have your skins, just like the casinos, except bigger and more of it. But you'll have your slots here for all your power and whatnot. But again, you have your south side. So everything's going to have an S. So keep separate, keep everything south. I got everything labeled like crazy. And we got your north. And again, everything's going to be very similar. So, all right, well, let's get into it. Again, let's start with what you're going to be copying from the other boxes. So again, you're going to have your 2x4 skewered. These are just full sticks because again, they don't come in the 280 or 280, whatever it is. It would have been nice. But essentially, you're just going to center these, go ahead and measure and make sure they're equal, coming out one end and equal coming out the other. And then that way these are centered. And then you're just you have one little spot here to slide your 2x through and kind of secure it. But you'll have to figure out, just make sure that these are 90 degrees. You'll take your 1/8 inch gussets and just kind of line them up like so. And that gives you a full burn here. You can do full inside here, and then you can burn along here and here. That's going to really make sure that that's nice and strong. Same thing. You're going to bring your top and bottom frames. You can see where I have them in 3 pieces here, all one piece, you know, because like the casino ones have the little funky ends. You don't have to worry about that. So in certain ways, this is actually easier. It's just bigger, but these are going to be actually a little more straightforward than the other ones. So anyway, so you're just going to do your usual middles. I have all the middles labeled. I got 8 working the way out to 1. And then I have 8, 7, 6 working all the way out to 1. Now, there is going to be, unlike the casino ones, there is going to be a north and a south. Oops, let's see. Yeah, there you go. So there will be a north and a south because, like I said before, the south side is going to have power in it. And so everything's going to be all customized and weird for the power. The north side does not have to worry about that. So the north side is going to be almost, it's going to be 100% secondary. It's going to be all LED cable. And it's also going to be the method to feed the casino boxes up from the bottom, like I said. And that's going to come through here. And we're going to get it up to this hole, go through the mountains. So I'll show you that. But anyway, so otherwise it's going to be the same top and bottom frame. You're just going to rivet it together. And then you're just going to put your verticals in. You have all your verticals here. The verticals are all the same. You have your end piece. I have an F towards face. So you have your left side as you're looking at it. So as you're looking at the south cabinet, you'll have all of your left side here and you'll have your right side here. So on the south side, the mountain touches on the right side. You can see I put this line right through the middle. So everything on this side's the left, everything on this side's the right. So that way everything's facing proper. So you're going to take your verticals. The verticals are all the same except for the in-outs. Like the casino, you have specialized ones that are in and out that mount to the 1/4-inch plate mounts. So just like the other one, you're going to rivet these together with your in-out ones. Now, like I said, these can be swapped back and forth. So you're going to take one of these and you're going to rivet it to the out. You're going to take one of these and rivet it to the in. And then that will allow you to put it in the frame where it's supposed to be. So the in one is inside to the center. The out one is the outside to the center, or out from the center. And you can see where it faces that way and it faces this way, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the only difference is when you go to put these in, this guy here is going to be a torsional stiffener that's going to butt up against the 2x4, and it's going to allow you to really get some good welding here and here. You don't, you know, this thing is over 2 feet long. You obviously don't need to weld the entire thing. Calm down. But you can do a nice 2-inch here, burn this really well, and then symmetry of strength. You know, I would put some 2-inch stripes here and here and, you know, just kind of stripe it up. But that's going to give a nice torsional strength to this tube right here. And it's going to create a nice solid box right there. And then these are going to transfer load up to the mounting plates. These mounting plates are exactly the same as the casino. Again, like I said, do the casino first, get your eye in. And then just like the casino, I have some super strong seams right here for face. So the faces will be chilling right here. So that's going to be the same thing. It's going to be a C channel. You're going to have a piece that slides through, and that's just going to be dedicated to stabilizing the face. So make sure that's in there nice and strong. And then that way the face goes to here, and then the face will go to the center, and then the face goes here, and then all that. So, and again, same thing. Let's make sure we get those faces on there super strong. Make sure we get them on there, do some safety rivets all the way around, make sure everything's on there nice and tight. And again, when you go to, you know, final wiring, again, like I was saying before, where these cross, the verticals here, and even the cross mounts here, go ahead and eyeball and shoot some safety screws all the way through. Once this is all said, before you trim cap them up, before you seal them up, that way we can get some nice safety screws through the face. Like the other one, like I said, I avoided the verticals just so that way the mounts wouldn't be in the way. But let's make sure we get those into the mounts where we can, into the verticals. The difference in the framing as well is, remember I said we have those mounts that are going to mount from the bottom from the other ones that are going to bring power in. These are going to have the 5/16 steel RivNuts, but in order to recess those down so that way the RivNuts aren't scraping the ground on this, if this thing's, you know, sitting against the ground, you're going to do these recess plates. Make sure they go in this way because you can put these in after you put your braces in. So it's going to fit. You can see where it's going to fit, and it's going to snuggle and clearance where this jig is going to be. It's going to be notched and clearance for that. But that's where this is going to be, and that's where this is going to be here. And this is where the power, you can see where this is like, I brought this in from the casino side. This is going to be where the power is going to come through, and you're going to get your secondary and get it up to here and get it connected to your power supplies. But again, that's coming up. We'll go over that. But so once you get the frame all like ready to go in your welding, you're just going to bend these up, cleat them in a spot, and weld them to the frame and weld them in there. And then you're going to go ahead and do from the outside, do your 5/16 steel RivNuts. And then that'll be how the those other guys attach. Let's see. Do I have that on the north side? North, south, north. Thought I brought those over. Anyway, but you remember from the other video. Okay, so that's going to be the frame. Let's see what else we got to deal with. These are there. You got these guys here, skewer through. So that's all going to be the same. So let's start going into what makes this whole thing special. So up here, if you remember, we got the mountains coming in. So this is a condensed version of it. So when the mountains come down, they're going to have this plate system. So this is translated from the mountains. So you'll have had the 1/2-inch nuts that you welded in, and we will have an open gap here that we were going to bring all of our cables. So you remember in the other video, you've got all the cables coming from your from the Eagle and from the mountains and everything. So you're going to have all these leashes, and they're going to collect because there's a door right here. They're going to collect right in here, and then we're going to have to be able to come through the mountains into this area, and they're going to poke through. So this thing here, as you see in orange, is now going to be a bridge that is going to connect across the two boxes. So here's your two boxes here that we're building, the two big boys. And this is going to be the bridge that attaches to a special connector that we're going to put in before so anyway, so get a little ahead of myself. So this will be your orange bridge. You're looking at it from the side. And so you can see here, this will be the mountains. You'll be able to bring your power through the mountains, through these holes here, and then they'll live inside this bridge. So the bridge is going to have a removable bottom plate, and then you'll have 2.5 inches of wireway that we can tuck up inside. And then install, we'll just go ahead and screw this from the bottom. And then when you're looking up from the bottom, it'll just be kind of a clean little box with some screws, but you won't see any wires or anything. And then that's going to hide all the, you're not going to see all the mounting and stuff like that. So in order to make this work though, let's go back to the frame. So as you're skewering everything through, you're going to take your 2x2 or your 2x4, right? You're going to skewer it through. And again, make sure that this is evenly, distributed between here and here. I'll tell you that right now. This is about 13.875, so almost 14 inches. So get about 13.875 sticking out from this flange here. Go ahead and center it over here. And then on the power side, on this side, on the route side, or on the right side, you're going to take what you see, this blue here. You are going to saddle this over both the 2x4, and I have it extend down. That way it grabs the 2x2 as well. That way the 2x2 is in play. And I even made a funky condensed version of that to clearance that weld. But you're going to burn this plate to both the 2x2 and the 2x2 and the 2x4. Now I don't have it notched here, but essentially this is all your welding all the way down here. So, and then that piece is notched up here though. So you can see how much you're going to be able to burn. And that's going to index to the top 090, and then it's going to stick out, and then it's going to get its own plate. Now this is only going to have 2 tabs sticking through the frame. It's not going to have that weird kind of thing on the other mounts. It didn't need it. This is just for the Mountin. So, but you're going to slide this through, index it to the dog bone here, boom, and then burn it. And then you'll be able to while it's sticking through the frame, you can see where here's your 2 dog bones right here and here. You'll be able to hit these up and burn those. And then this is where it sticks through the skin. And then that's going to be the receiver plate for the bridge. Now the Mountin's attached to the bridge, and then the bridge is going to attach to the Mountin plates. So here's your blue Mountin plate. Here's the orange is the, that's why I'm saying it looks like a Mjolnir. And then this is where the Mountin attaches to this 1/4 inch, super, super awesome. So you have your 2 sides here like a Mjolnir, and then you have your 2 cross points here. And then these are notched up to allow wires. So all your cables from your, all the cables coming in from the Mountains, from the Eagle, from one side. So, from Eagle Mountain on one side, Eagle Mountain on the other side. This, you can see orange right here. This bridge is where everything comes through, and it's going to cross through, and then it's going to work its way through this hole into this area for power. So again, we'll get to that, but we'll go ahead and clear those. So anyway, so that'll be your mount there. Make sure that gets in there. Make sure that gets burnt to the 2x4 real well. And then you're going to do, like I say, you're going to do all your mounts like you did before. And then you're going to do this mount. That's really the only difference. And that's for both. So the north and the south, obviously they just face different ways. But on this side, we don't have any power or anything. We're not messing with the power, and we don't have all the primary, the primary stuff over here. So north is going to be slightly more simple. It's just going to be mounts, but you still have this mount over here for the Mountains. So look for the MNT mount jig, and it has the dog bone clearance. Otherwise, all of these jigs are basically the same for the whole job, for the whole box. It's just this one right here. That's what I'm saying. I'm calling it out. Just look for this one that has a dog bone. That'll let you make the transition bridge there for the Mountains to go across. Otherwise, that's it for the north. I mean, the north is going to be the most simple for you. So let's close. I'm closing in on it. So let's talk this whole power nonsense over here. This is let's see. So on the south side, again, let's look here. Yeah, so this is the south side facing us, the one we're used to seeing. This will be where power comes in. And you can see where this will be your connector thing, and this is where all the power is going to run. The secondary is going to run up, and we just need to get it up into this area. Same thing again. The other north-facing Eagle Mountain, collect everything into either 1 leash or 2 leashes. We'll go over that. I don't know what your count's going to be, but you're going to collect everything and bring it to this side, but on the north side, on the other side. And then it's going to cross the bridge that you saw, and it's going to come into this guy. And it's all got to get right over here. So let's go to that. So first and foremost, you're going to have this little specialized tray. So you'll look for the specialized jigs. These guys, little specialized jiggies right here. That's going to be, it's going to have its own separate little mounting tray here. And that is going to be where we put the main in. This is going to be just the switch, and it's going to be just for power in. So install, all you need to do is there's going to be a junction box either here or here. You need to get that junction box with your primary power in, and it needs to enter the south side box somewhere. And then you just need to get it over to this area. And then all install needs to do, theoretically, is get that power collected from somewhere into right here, and that's it. So you can see I have plenty of power side in here. I've got power coming in on the side of the box. I've got power coming in on all the way around. So you can go ahead and, bring your power in anywhere in here, and then all you got to do is make a junction, and that's it. Now, so once Fab gets us all in there, you have your switch and everything, how we do. It's got the patent pending, recessed, all that. And I have power A and power B. So let's make sure that you get these verticals in the right spot, because you can see where power A is going to have a lot more clearance for wires and whatnot coming through. And then power B, you're going to do like we do. You're going to get this all installed, and then you're going to have a little chunk you want to cut out. Now make sure it's, there's nothing, there's nobody set up for okey doke. Make sure it's clean, nice, and no sharp edges. But you can see how much is cut out here, and you can see how much is cut out from the top at the power side. All of this is going to be open and nice access for install. And you can see where on the power side, see I have power here. I have the right side south. I have it all labeled really well. So you have these very nice big openings as opposed to the other side. You don't need openings. And that's going to allow for plenty of access in this entire area to get. So you can see where this nugget stops here. All this will be open. You see where this nugget stops here. All this will be open, and you'll be able to then access power supplies, and it'll be easy for service, easy for install. Knocking on wood here, I'm hoping, but we're all good. So that being said, as you're doing your leashes for everything, that's why it's important to bring in some 12 gauge leashes, because we're going to have to be doing some runs, and we don't want the voltage drop. So make sure that when you're doing your collections on Eagle Mountain on this side, that when you're ready to have a leash go across to the other box, make sure that leash then also has plenty of travel to come around through here. So this is going to be where we're coming in right there. And then it's going to travel through here. It's going to cross over. And then we're going to make sure we have plenty of play, because the whole idea behind this is it's going to lift up and out when it's time for service. So in order to keep our UL minimum 4-inch distance apart, and the fact we're going to have plenty of power supplies, I opted for this slide out, kind of easy to get to, kind of multi-purpose, solving multiple problems at once. It's going to have this removable slide out thing that's going to have access to all 10 power supplies. So you're going to want to make sure that all your leashes have plenty of play to be able to pull this up and out and have access to everything. Now, that's the whole reason why I asked you about that spool of stow or sew cable. We have that laying around. You're going to want to make sure you have a generous leash. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that cable and you're going to go from the power box on the side here, right? And you're going to make a nice generous leash that's going to get kind of stowed in this area, because this is all going to be open right here, because you can see where power B has this giant opening. And this giant opening right here is to allow that power snake to just kind of coil up right here. But that's going to be plenty of room to pull up. As a matter of fact, let's just take the Curves machine. Curves Lakes inches. I have 46 inches on this right here. So you throw a 72-inch kind of mains cable right there, and that'll have plenty of room to take this all the way out and get to the bottom power supplies. We'll go over power supply loading here in a second, speculating, but I'll show you what's up. So the whole idea behind this thing is it's going to be a one-piece deal where it's going to be a 1-inch toaster frame that is going to allow all the power supplies to attach. And then you're going to have a riveted, it's all riveted. You're going to have a riveted little chunk here that's going to allow a spot to attach with a cable clamp system. Probably bring one in, McMaster car, but you're going to cable clamp this, and then you're going to be able to then distribute your primary to every one of these from here. And then you're going to have that cable stow in there, and it's going to be permanently attached to our primary box. And it's all watershed. You know how we do. The cable can be access to water and all that. So what you're going to do is build this thing. This thing's completely riveted, and it's also going to allow for heat dissipation. So I'm going to keep a 16th inch gap right here. You should see a 16th inch gap. If you don't, let's talk about it, because the whole idea is you're going to rivet all this together. You're going to take this one, put it inside that one, rivet, rivet, rivet. You're going to take these end pieces here, and you're going to sandwich them here, and that's going to be how this thing actually attaches to the top. And then the top part here is this like kind of cover drape system that's going to help with water. That then it gets attached to the actual permanent skin. So the skin that we normally take off, the cover, is actually going to be where the power supply thing mounts. So when it's time to pull the power supplies, they're just going to undo all the screws, and then, off it goes. So all of this, needless to say, it's pretty straightforward, but just make sure everything's done in proper order so you don't trap yourself out. But the idea is that all these holes are going to lead up to these holes up top, and these holes are going to act as a vent. So what I'm hoping is that on both sides we have these vent holes that's going to allow all of this, and it's going to be open on the bottom here too. So all of this heat theoretically should be able to vent up and out all of these holes up top. And then the cover itself is going to act as a sort of a watershed, but also the 16th inch hopefully will keep the bees out, because we don't want the bees living in there either. So you want to see this gap, and you don't want to seal this up, because this is going to allow for, the heat to dissipate out. But you're going to want to make sure that all of this is sealed up very well once you have it built. You're going to want to caulk everything. You're going to want to caulk all of the rivets from the bottom end. Any of these rivets here from the bottom side, once you get everything riveted together, you're going to want to caulk everything, and you're going to want to caulk around here. Make sure that no water drips in, to try to keep everything, as sealed up as possible, keep the bees out, all that. So, but once you're said and done, you rivet these all in there, you'll have all of this ready to go for the toaster slot. Now, as far as loading is concerned, I went ahead and overdid it. I imagine that casino box on one side might actually be able to tie, you might be able to do both casino boxes to one power supply. So if you look here, let's say you have, let's say for safety, we do the top eagle logo one side, you do the top eagle logo on the other side. You do the Mountin on one side, you do the Mountin on the other. Now you have, let's say, the word eagle on the big box, and you have the word eagle on the big box. You have the word Mountin on the big box, and you have the word Mountin. And then you also have the bottom box casino, and you have the bottom box casino. Now, the bottom box casinos might be able to combine to one. The Mountin might be able to be in one, both sides. So again, once it's up to, all set up and wired, you'll be able to do your count. But I have this set up to do the maximum amount. You might not need all 10, 5 on each side. That's fine. So, but anyway, so I think that's it. But that'll be your vent and your handle. That'll be like your vent. And then when it's time to, install, they can just pull up on that. You're not really going to see it being that high up. I did sort of a kind of workup on it. You're not going to really see it. You have to be way far away to even start to notice that. So I don't think anyone's going to see it. So, here's all of our UL of why we can use it. So you checked, this is a wet location cable that we have. But again, make sure we have the proper clamping cable clamps for both sides, here and here for this. Otherwise, I think that's it. So install, again, you're just going to want to bring your primary, get it to here, and then making sure that all of this stuff has the proper leashes, and then make sure you have plenty of leash length to come in and collect and sort of jumble. And then the whole idea, though, is that this thing needs to lift all the way out. So again, make sure all your leashes at final wiring are just, make sure there's plenty of play to be able to pull this up and work on it and slide it back down. But again, talking back from the other job, again, you're going to do your secondary LED cables are going to collect on the south side to here. You're going to run them up through and bring them up. Again, this is where I think we might want to do the 12 gauge, because you can connect these together fine on an 18 gauge and bring it, but then we want to maybe distribute that to a 12 gauge, bring it up and get it all the way up with plenty of play, right? Big old leashes coming out. Again, you need to figure out that, how many on both sides, but again, you're going to come to that bridge, collect it and bring it in. You're going to do these guys, bring them down. Remember, we're doing the 12 gauge leashes to get to here. Those come in. So all of this needs to have plenty of play, and then we can collect. It's better to just collect it than not. But again, you're going to have to decide on the loading on that, how that works out once you know what product you're using and all that. But again, you got the bridge, you're coming across there. Let's see. Yeah, you're just going to lords these two pieces of 09 inside, and that's going to be how the cover plate mounts right there with the two pieces of 09. But otherwise, it's a Mjolnir. So install is going to install the bottom boxes first. You're going to do the casino boxes first, and then you're going to do the big boxes, and then you can kind of feed the wire through those mounting doohickeys there. You're going to feed your cables up through. And then once these are through, you're going to mount these up. And then once those are all mounted up like that, then you're going to go ahead and collect all the wires and get everything all, you know, hooked up over here. And hopefully all that goes together well. So fab, you know, wiring this is going to take some time. So make sure that all these cables and stuff are all labeled properly. Make sure that the leashes coming in are all labeled for Eagle and Mountain, you know, north and south. And go ahead and write on this guy with Sharpie, you know, which each position is. I gave you plenty of zip tie spots here. These are all zip tie. I gave you plenty of grounding and bonding spots for everything if you need it. So, but anyway, I think this is pretty thorough, pretty well thought out. I think everything is well explained and everything, but you know, I'm here for questions. It's all good. Same thing here. Make sure all this is lordsed up or caulked up really well. Once you get it all, you know, go ahead and test fit everything and make sure that you get the right faces on the right side. I have it labeled north, south. So yeah, everything south has an S, everything north has an N. So just keep everything kind of divvied up. Your cut lists are the same for both. I have them labeled here, north, south. So you only have 4 sticks of 2x and you have all this 2x2 here. But this cut list is the same. So don't double cut. Just do one of these lists and you're fine. You don't need to do both lists on both pages. So anyway, I think that's it. Again, refer to the casino one. And then this is just a bigger version plus a bunch of little weird power stuff. But I think otherwise, yeah, I think that's it. So good luck. We're all counting on you.
Check the technique. Check the technique. See if you can